thanks for joining us today. We're going to talk about full body strength sessions. All right,
Kyle, I'm Joe Schmo here. I'm showing up. I want to work out. I don't know where to start. What would you have me do?
Well, for most of the Joe Schmoes out there, we're probably going to start you with a pretty simple, probably 2-day routine to start. We're probably going to do all your foundational movements in each workout: an upper body push, an upper body pull, some sort of squat pattern, some sort of hip hinging pattern, maybe some core work. We're probably going to do some slight different variations of those things 2 different days a week, but keep it real simple for you, and you're off to the races from there.
Why? Why should I do that? What about Monday chest day? I'm going to miss that. What am I going to do?
There's many different ways that you can put a routine together for yourself. We're going to talk about some of those different options today, but there's also many reasons why we would take the approach that we did.
I think I hear where you're going. I'm the type of guy, yesterday, what time was that? Yeah, it was 4 o'clock. I knew I was about to get off work at 5, so I took my pre-workout, and then right at 5 o'clock, as soon as I checked out, I was like, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do when I get to the gym. So I got on Instagram, and then there were some really cool videos that it linked to, and then all of a sudden I was on YouTube. And then my wife called, and it was 7:30, and I had to go home. So it was not a great workout.
That's a common story, right? A lot of options out there, a lot of methods that you can use. Hey, but we're going to talk about what concepts really matter and why we start with real simple methods for the vast majority of people. Right?
Awesome.
That sound good?
That sounds wonderful.
All right,
way better than I did.
Let's strap in, Joe Schmo. All right, so going from there, let's talk about full body strength sessions. So with the way you structure your workout, you have a couple different ways you can do it. You can use full body programming, which refers to training all the major movement patterns or muscle groups in each workout, or you could use split programming. Split programming refers to splitting the major movement patterns or muscle groups up over the course of the week. And there's a bunch of different ways you can do that, but some typical ones are maybe an upper body, lower body split. Maybe some days you do upper body, some days you do lower body. Push-pull legs, where push generally refers to chest, shoulders, triceps. Pull refers to back, biceps generally, or even breaking it up into one body part at a time. You have chest Monday, like Joe Schmo wanted to do there, right? Back day, shoulder day, arm day, leg day. And what really matters with strength training, if you remember our first talk, Strength 101, train your foundational movements consistently. So again, kind of those big rock lifts of your pushes, your pulls, your squats, your hinges, or if you prefer to think about it by muscle groups, that's fine, but hit all the big rocks, right? And apply progressive overload over time. That's it. Those are the big concepts. Okay. So any full body or split routine can work. Okay. But why do we here at Prevail use full body workouts with the vast majority of our clients and all of our online programs? Peter, with all your clients right now, what percentage of them are using full body workouts?
Well, most of my clients probably train 2 to 3 times a week. They train, I'd say they're pretty good most of the time, like 90% consistency. And based upon that, in order to get the most bang for our buck, I don't really have an option but to pretty much do full body with all of those.
Yeah, I'd agree for the vast majority of my people too. I think every once in a while there's a certain situation where I go a split routine with someone, but in general those situations are pretty few and far between. So why is that? Okay, we're going to go deeper into each of these topics, but let's give you the overview of what we're going to cover today. Reason number 1 why we generally use full body workouts, and by far and away the most important, as Peter alluded to, it just fits better with the schedule and consistency of most people. Yeah, we're going to talk about more about that in a second. There's also some mobility benefits to doing full body routines more often. There are some recovery benefits to not destroying your chest every Monday. And then there is potentially some hypertrophy and strength benefits from a higher frequency of hitting each muscle group. So we're going to dive into each of those topics right now. So let's start with number 1, which again, we said is far and away the biggest reason. It's just realistic with the schedule and consistency of your average client. Like Peter was saying, most people have just 2 or 3 days a week to strength train. Realistically, people are probably going to miss 1 to 2 workouts a month. 90% is a great goal. We strive for even better than that. But realistically, a lot of people have things come up and they're more in that 75, 80% consistency zone and they're working on getting better, but that's where most people are at right now. Okay. Based on that, are you missing your one leg day every 3 or 4 weeks? People always tend to miss leg day when they're missing the one day on their split routine, right? That adds up. But say you're on a 2 or 3 day a week full body routine, even if you miss a session here or there, you're still getting half if you're on a 2-day routine or 2/3 if you're on a 3-day routine of your weekly volume everywhere, even if you miss one session. Missing workout from across the board evenly as opposed to just missing one body part and throwing the whole routine off.
And just getting that little bit of stimulus through everything, your body just thrives on that, and it needs to adapt. And if we don't give it a stress, let's say, I don't use my legs there, and 2-3 weeks go by and all I literally do is sit on them versus utilize them, it just does the body such a disservice. And it's like, well, if I'm not going to use it, why keep it? Muscle is very metabolically active, and in order for our bodies to prioritize it, we have to apply stress to it. The body will respond favorably when you do, especially when you first get going.
Yeah. So again, just with most people's schedule and consistency, it's just an approach that allows for a little more forgiveness with their routine, right? So there's not too much more to elaborate on that one, but it just is far and away the most important reason. So just don't want to pass through it too fast without reiterating that a few times. A couple other things though. Number 2, mobility benefits. Most people are sedentary for the bulk of their day. Most people are working a more sedentary 9-to-5 job. Hey, if they're an active, healthy person, they're going to the gym after work. Hey, great. Or before work. Hey, awesome. We're glad you have that hour or whatever it is of movement dedicated in your day. But then maybe you go home and you have dinner and then you sit on the couch and watch TV and then you scroll on your phone and maybe you read a book in bed. There wasn't a lot of movement in that day outside of your workout for most people. So that's its own issue, how to sprinkle more movement into your day and take mobility breaks, take walk breaks, sit on the floor while you watch TV and move around, right? But that's its own talk. If you're only going to dedicate 1 hour to moving each day, going through a full body warm-up and workout each time you go to the gym just gives you more time at your various end range positions over the course of the week. If you're only sitting into a deep squat once a week on your leg day, your hips and ankles are missing that exposure to end range tissues. But hey, each time I go into the gym, I'm moving my ankles, moving my hips, moving my spine, moving my shoulders, and I'm doing that 2, 3, however many times a week you're training. That adds up a lot over time.
Mm-hmm. And I like to think of people that really pride themselves. I do so much. Like, I'm on my bike 20 hours a week. And you look at their postures and where they're strong and where they're weak, you see similarities to what a bike looks like when you picture someone on a bike, or someone who prides themselves in 1,000 crunches a day. And you generally see a posture that facilitates that because their body likes to do what you keep doing on a consistent basis. So another good reason to, again, do this and go through a lot of various movement and patterns versus just the same thing over and over and over.
Yep. Number 3, recovery benefits. Okay. By training with full body routines, you are less likely to be incredibly sore in one body part. Again, after your chest Monday or your leg day Friday, I have crushed my legs today because I'm not going to do it again until next Friday, but now I can't walk till Monday. Okay, well, some people are gluttons for punishment, but soreness, although it may be correlated with some good stuff you did yesterday, isn't itself a necessary part of the equation to get stronger, to build muscle mass. So it really is a con that we want to manage. Hey, can we get the same progress with less muscle damage? That's the good thing. This is especially important for athletes who have frequent practices and performances mixed into their training week. If I am doing crushing leg day on Monday, well, I'm not going to get much out of my sprint training with my team on Tuesday. I'm going to be too sore to run at my best and then take my speed to the next level. If I'm a golfer and my back day is on Friday, but I don't want to be sore for my match on Saturday, so I never push back day very hard. Well, then, hey, what are we doing? By splitting the routine up, you're less likely to be problematically sore the next day. So you might just enjoy that more. It might interfere with performance a little bit less. So that's another big benefit of the full body routines.
And like when Kyle mentioned, hey, I crushed my legs on Friday, and then over the weekend I had to recover. And it's like, I miss my opportunity now to do some of these other activities and things I enjoy. Going for a hike. I'm playing soccer with my kids in the park, or these things. I'm like, oh man, I'm so sore, I can't go. Daddy, what's wrong with you? Why are you just sitting around? Oh, I'm too sore, son, I can't play. That's lame. That's dumb. That's not the way life is meant to be lived.
Yeah, and again, if you're doing that classic bodybuilder chest, back, shoulders, arms, legs routine, there's almost one part of you that's always super sore, and it just you almost never feel at your best. Whereas with a full body approach, you might feel pretty good most of the time. So that's another one. Okay? And then our last one we're going to talk about are some potential hypertrophy and strength benefits from structuring your routine this way. Right? As we've talked about before in past talks, volume in terms of hard sets per week is the main variable that matters for hypertrophy. Intensity in terms of load used is the main driver of strength. Okay? Those two things still ring true. Okay? When volume and intensity are equated, variations in training frequency don't seem to cause significant difference in results. So this study that was linked here was a group of 28 young males. They were broken into 2 different groups. One group trained 3 days per week. One group trained 6 days per week. They did the same amount of work. The guys training 3 days per week just did twice as much each day as the guys training 6 days a week, and the end result was pretty much the same. Right? So again, when volume and intensity are equated, it seems like, again, there's a lot of different ways you can skin the cat here. A lot of different methods you can use to apply these 2 main concepts.
So the thing I love about this study to me is, what is your lifestyle? What is your schedule? you can make it work.
Yep.
You might be, I can train for 30 minutes from 5:30 to 6 every morning. That's all I got. Cool. Hey, I can only train at lunch 3 days a week for an hour. Okay. Whatever it is, you can adapt this, and you can see, again, across the board, there's many different ways to skin the cat, and you can still get results.
Yep. And so basically what we're saying here is that doing full body routines, hitting, the muscle groups more frequently throughout the week, it doesn't necessarily lead to better gains than doing, all my leg day on Monday, blah, 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 whatever split routine you want. But in reality, again, that was a controlled study where they were, they were in these groups, following these set programs where, hey, you are going to do this, double the work on Monday that this person is spreading out over Monday, Tuesday. It was a controlled study. Life is not a controlled study. In reality, choosing a program with a higher training frequency of each muscle group might naturally lead to either higher volume or intensity. A couple examples. How could that lead to higher volume? You might do more leg sets over the course of the week when you split the workout over 3 full body workouts than when you do them in one day. And maybe in one day you walk into the gym, you warm up, do a few sets of squats, maybe some hinges, maybe a couple lunges, and you're like, I'm toast. I'm going to call it good. Hey, maybe you did 10 sets of leg work that day. Hey, but maybe by doing a full body routine, you do 3 sets of a squat pattern and 3 sets of some sort of hinge pattern 3 different times that week. Hey, now I got 18 sets in my week, and maybe to you that didn't seem as hard to do. Right? So that's just an example of how structuring your routine with full body routines, higher frequency, might lead to you doing more volume. And then intensity. Again, Joe Schmo's Chest Monday. Even if Joe did 12 chest sets a week either way, he might put more effort into the patterns, use more load on the various patterns he did if he split them up into 3 sessions with 4 sets each time. Because, on that chest day Monday, he does some bench press, he does some dumbbell incline press, he does some push-ups. By the time he's getting through that routine, he might be fried and not really putting his best effort into those last few sets. So the intensity might be better if he did his, some bench press on Monday. Hey, he did some dumbbell bench press on Wednesday, did some push-ups on Friday, intermixed with all his other stuff. He might get more out of those 12 sets. So even if volume was controlled, hey, maybe his intensity is higher because you played with that variable of frequency, right? So again, you can say that these here aren't really laws. This is more situational. Tinker with this, see if this works for you, but it's something that we find to be true with many people, that they get better results from a higher frequency dose.
Yeah, and just mentally too, knowing that I do this and then I'm moving on. Well, why don't I just empty the tank, hit these couple sets real hard, boom, moving on. Yeah. So it's, from a mental aspect, I just like that too. Yeah.
This last link here on the slide, if you're watching the video, we'll put in the notes as well, which is an awesome compilation of a bunch of different research on messing with these different variables of volume, intensity, frequency, and okay, what are the big takeaways, with all the links to all the various research if you want to deep dive this topic, because you could get pretty nerdy about it.
Yeah, just don't do it right before workout.
Yeah.
Because you might not work out.
Find your own time to do it. Right. Okay, so after everything we just laid out, the benefits of a full body routine for a realistic schedule and consistency for most people, the mobility benefits, the recovery benefits, potential hypertrophy and strength benefits, you might be thinking, oh, why would anyone use a split routine? You'd have to be pretty dumb to do that. And I wouldn't quite say that, right? That's swinging the pendulum too far the other way. There definitely is a time to use split routines. Let's go over a couple situations where that might make sense, right? If you're someone who's training 4+ days a week, not that you couldn't use splits with less days, not that you couldn't still use full body routines, even if you're training more than 4 days, right? But if you're training 4+ days a week with near 100% consistency, when I say near 100%, I'm saying missing a workout less than once a month for sure, because for the reasons we talked about earlier, you don't want to throw off your whole routine. If you feel that you personally feel better or more recovered on a split routine, hey, maybe instead of hitting full body, if you're training very often, maybe I don't like hitting full body 4 or 5 times a week. I like hitting my legs Monday, my legs Thursday, and my upper body Tuesday, my upper body Friday. That feels better to me. Well, then sure, go for it, right? Some of those last couple reasons we touched on are more of an individual case-by-case basis. Or maybe I do want to just crush my legs on Monday so that I'm really fresh for Friday whenever I'm doing something else. Sure, right? So case-by-case basis. You might find that you personally get more volume or intensity on a split routine. When you just tap into your chest day mindset, you're locked in and you can go for it on all those patterns. Hey, great, awesome. Maybe even equipment-wise, hey, all my leg workouts in the same area of the gym, so I do more if I just stay in that one zone. Great, sure. Again, concepts are few, methods are many. From the start of the talk here, we said train the big patterns, progress them over time, drive volume and intensity up. If you find you do that better with the split routine, great.
Mm-hmm. And some of your people, as you get to kind of upper intermediate to advanced, they'll tend to benefit a little bit more from this. Some patterns are really, really neurologically demanding, and your body needs a little bit more recovery from there. So as people get some years of experience in it, then it's a great time to start experimenting and trying different things and seeing what's optimal for you. Or it might be optimal for a season, and then you switch back, and then the body can respond to that too. I've always done full body. Well, shoot, I do a split, and your body's like, whoa, 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 new progress, new gains. Then that starts to stagnate. Maybe I'm going back to full body. So
just because it was new to you, increased your training adherence, your focus, your drive, whatever. Again, there's a lot of different reasons that different things can work, right? So, but you still can use a split routine, right? Yeah. So what could a full body program look like? Or if you're only familiar with split routines, how do I even design the full body workout? That's so much stuff to do in one session. But remember, you're spreading the workout over the course of the week, right? So generally our structure with our classes, most of our semi-private, private clients here in the gym and all of our online programs, we're going to have a nice full body warm-up. Okay. There's going to generally move into a complex that involves some power, some moving quickly, which is a really vital skill. And we've,
especially as you get old like me,
had another talk about that, right? Maybe some core work in there with that first complex. And then generally we'll just hit the 4 major patterns of some sort of squat pattern, some sort of pull pattern, some sort of push pattern, some sort of hinge pattern. If you're watching the video here, we have a few different sample days lined up in front of you, mixing in different horizontal and vertical pressing angles and pulling angles over the course of the week. With the lower body, maybe some days are double leg squatting patterns, other days are more of a lunge pattern, etc. Just mixing in a little bit of variety over the course of the week, but each day is still hitting those big staples. That even if I miss day 3 once a month, it's not the end of the world because I've got this work spread out over the course of the week.
Something else that I like, I don't know if we've really talked about it much, is just the opportunity to do some cardiovascular work. I already get all my body part splits in. I got a resistance training pretty much every single day. It's like, well, what about this big low-hanging fruit that's just so vital for even getting more bang for our buck with doing our strength patterns, allowing us to recover better, allow us to have more longevity and, keep the doctor at bay as well, is just having that time for that. So it can be super beneficial when you're very efficient with your 2 or 3 days a week, just like the program Kyle just discussed. And then you have a little bit more time to do some of this other work that we don't want to neglect.
Yep. So a lot of reasons why we like this full body approach. In summary, full body routines fit better with the schedule and consistency of most people. They allow you to move through your full ranges more often. You might just be moving better, feeling better, generally lead to less soreness, and potentially lead to better hypertrophy strength results if you find that you personally get more volume, more intensity in your workouts when doing them this way. Split routines can work. The main thing is to find what works for you, to train consistently, progressively overload yourself over time, and train with a higher volume or intensity as appropriate for your goals.
Yeah, and then whatever you decide to do, be all in. Give it a time, commit to it. Don't do it for a week or 2. Oh, this has worked for me. Yeah. It's like run it through a full, I don't know, I would generally say probably 3 months before you could really have a good idea if this is something that's appropriate for you or not. Don't do it for a couple weeks and just, throw it out. Be like, it didn't work for me. Yeah. So that would be my main thing. Commit to it and work hard when you go, so that way you can get that full response. Don't come in with a preconceived notion that this is better than this. So just get after it. Yeah. Always a theme that we talk about here is that it's good for us to get ourselves a little outside that comfort zone and challenge us.
Yeah, and again, just don't be the Joe Schmo who does all the research but then doesn't actually do anything at all, right? Imperfect action beats perfect inaction every time. So,
Amen.
Cool. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll catch you next time.